Hello everyone and welcome back to my podcast. I'm Darren Connell and this is Straight White Whale. Thank you so much for coming back. We've got a new sponsor this week, so before I get into it, I just want to thank Merchant City Medical, a good bunch of people. The new sponsor is McTassel's. Have you ever heard of McTassel's, Paul?
Well, I have now, but technically no. I've never been. Tell us all about it, Darren.
I will do. See that there? Wee bit of professionalism between me and Paul. McTassel's is a Greek food van and they're really popular in Scotland. It's run by a family that I know, a Greek family, Greek-Scottish family, right? They've got 3 businesses. One is in Buchanan Galleries, the other one is at the Fort, and one's in Kelvin Way. They do like gyros food, which is halloumi, lamb and chicken, and they do falafel, right? They've been here for a couple of years, but a couple of years ago, Glasgow Live did a story on them, and it went viral, and they've just fucking exploded. So the first time that I ever had a gyros, and this is how I knew that they were amazing, right? Shit hot, was I was waiting in the queue, and the guy was passing a woman a gyros, and a bit of the meat fell off and landed on the pavement, right? And there was a dog there, and the dog, you should have seen this dog eat it off the pavement, right? It was like, have you ever seen that Stephen King film? I think it's called Cujo, about the possessed dog. No. Like, it was eating bits of the fucking pavement. Like, like I was like, that dog's just showed its wolf. Right. I was like, the fucking hell, man! Even the dogs are hoovering it off the pavement. So, I ate it and it was better than Coke. So, I only get businesses that I like, or businesses that I know. And this is a business that I know. The food is amazing. It's good people. They're beautiful Greek bastards. Even big Ange Postecoglou, he's been up.
Has he really?
You can go on their Instagram and you'll see a picture of that big sexy bastard getting in about a gyros. How can people be racist, mate, when you've got shit like that?
What do you mean?
Like, all the food of the world and all the people of the world. Oh, right, like, aye. First and foremost, Ange Postecoglou's a sexy bastard, right?
That's what I was. Do you know what I was going to say? I sent a DM to a mate, a mutual friend of ours, Jerry Taylor, who was saying what a result, and I was like, do you know what, mate? I think I might be gay for one man and one man only, and that's Big Ange. Like, I reckon if he was, you know, cutting about the West End and like needing to nut, I'd be like, fucking fire him a gob, mate. Let's go. Sexy bastard.
Big sexy bastard. I get vibes off him, like I want him to love me. Like I want him to love me, man.
Pure daddy vibes.
Aye, like gonna say that you love me and I'll cuddle you and I'll say that I love you. Aye. See when he talks about his dad and all that, I'm like, I was greeting, mate. So getting about gyros, what the fucking weird.
McTassel's.
Aye, McTassel's. Fucking hell, man. How did I learn that I had daddy issues during an advert for a McTassel's truck?
The new Celtic manager gets revealed to me, then you're pure, I've got daddy issues on.
Aye. I don't know if I want you to sponsor the podcast anywhere. I'm fucking choking up here. Aye, how shite is it being Scottish? They've all got gyros, and I went for an Indian meal the weekend, and you can get this yogurt drink called Lassie, I think it's called. Right. Lass. It's like a beautiful yogurt drink, and I'm like, God, when we grew up, it was mince and totties. Aye. And I had to eat it in front of Alki family members.
Robinson's diluting juice. Can you imagine? Right. Do you think in India there's like a wee Scottish food van? Or in Greece there's like a Scottish food van and they're giving out chips and chicken, like turkey dinosaurs and fucking diluting orange.
Aye. You're like, how you're not supposed to boil mince for 9 hours.
Oh man, mince and totties, man, fuck's sake.
I fucking hate mince and totties, man.
Do you?
I mean, if it's made right, I can eat it, but no the way I fucking grew up eating it. Fucking hell.
Stewed sausage, what's that all about? Sitting like boiling sausages in gravy.
So let's get into this, mate. How's your week been since I last
been alright, other than fuck my back. I was telling you before we started, I've totally fucked my back.
We are getting old.
Mate, this is it, man. I'm starting to think fuck, maybe I need to stop going and doing chin-ups and fucking squatting and bench pressing. My body's pure.
A chin up in the gym.
It was a pull-up. I was doing pull-ups, mate. I got to 8 out of my 10 reps and I fucking felt something pop. And it's an interior muscle that's in my fucking rib cage has went. Right? I'm fucked.
Oh
Absolutely fucked. Maybe I need to take up Tai Chi.
Or take some CBD.
Ooh,
You need to get into that. I just realised I can't read my fucking handwriting. It's too wee. I need to get a laptop and all. I've got a chin-up bar in the house.
Have you?
I've never used it in my life. The only time I've ever used it was I tried to hang myself with it when I was like 18.
Is that true?
Yeah.
When they stop laughing.
I know, it's alright, it's funny.
Is it one of the ones that wedges in between the door frame?
Aye.
So is that
It
what
broke
happened?
off, aye. And I was lying on the carpet. I've spoke about this in my stand-up routine. I was lying on the carpet with a bit of chin-up bar across my chest, and I was thinking, was I that fat? I've just snapped my chin-up bar, but it was the way the chin-up bar was. I was like, I'm sure that'll be funny one day. Can't even hang myself. Anyway, McTassos, man. Gyros.
get some falafel and a blowjob.
Well, I mean, this is before I tried all that shit. Like, I'm willing, I'll put this on record, right? Gyros is that good, it'll make you no kill yourself.
For fuck's sake.
Honestly. It's better than cocaine. I'm not even talking about McTassos, I'm talking about gyros in fucking general.
Right. What is gyros?
It's like a pita bread, a Greek pita bread, and it's got hummus and all that type of shit.
Right.
Oil, olive oil and stuff.
Aye, I've had one.
Aye, and then you can put whatever you want in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that good it would make you kill yourself.
So if you, we need to stop. We need to stop. I was going to say, so see if you'd have been successful, you'd have regretted your suicide. But that's terrible.
I basically,
because you didn't get some McTassos.
No doubt people get offended by that. There was a couple of cunts that were pulling me up about us talking about Whoopi Goldberg.
How come?
Proper DMing me saying, you know how I was like, Whoopi Goldberg said that about the Jewish people, but I was a wee bit stuttery because I never knew the story word for word.
Mm-hmm.
I get this 10-page essay by a random saying, how fucking dare you, all that type of shit.
What was the context of the rant?
It was something along the lines that I was, I don't even really know. It was just like gibberish. Like,
do you mean gibberish?
Gibberish, aye.
Barry gibberish.
I was just like, shut the fuck up. I said she was sexy and Ghost. Does that make me hate Jewish people? Get a grip.
Was it that we were an accusation that we were sort of making fun of the Holocaust?
Yes.
Right, okay. But we weren't.
No.
We were talking about Whoopi Goldberg sort of saying that it was like, it wasn't racism, it was just bad people. We're just like, can they two things exist at the same time? But let's not get back into it. But so we are basically taking the piss out of the Holocaust because we were talking about Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, they can fuck off. Hope you're listening to this. Fuck off.
Aye, fuck off. I don't ever engage in a conversation. I just keep saying, are you all right? Are you okay? And it makes them so furious, man. So get it up them. There's been weird energy in the air recently with shit, isn't there? Just the world seems poisoned, man. Like everybody's getting cancelled. It just seems like a weird, stupid game, like a circus type of shit. Like, are we cancelling them because they're bad people, or are you doing it because you're getting a thrill? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my opinion changes on Joe Rogan weekly. I think deep down he's a good person. I think he's a good guy. He's just trying to be a stand-up comedian. He's been a stand-up comedian for 30 years. He's a fucking meathead. He smokes a bit of pot. Like, he's like everybody else, the majority of people in the world. And he's got this podcast that is just probably, back in the day, it was like The Tonight Show. He's 100 times bigger than The Tonight Show. Like hundreds and hundreds of millions of views he's getting. And he's going on to this podcast and it's not scripted. Sometimes he's drinking booze, he's smoking a bit of weed. It must be fucking tough. And he came out and he apologised. He had an apology video, and I must say, like, I do respect him for apologising because we don't live in a world where people say, I fucked up.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that I think I'm with you. I'm flip-flopping on this. Like, but it takes a big person. That guy gets about, mate, 1 billion downloads a month on his audio.
I never knew it was as much as that, man.
That's just Spotify.
That
right?
is crazy.
He mentioned something about that they hit that. That was a couple of years ago. They were on Apple and Spotify, and they were saying that there was a point where, you know, the podcast boom happened and Rogan was getting 1 billion downloads a month, right? Biggest podcaster on the planet, which means he's the biggest because he speaks for like 2-3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
So people are hearing and listening and watching him more than any other information news. So you're bang on. He's like Jonathan Ross in this country, plus, you know, whatever Carson Daly, like, plus, you know, like David Letterman. He's all of this together. Don't think anybody's ever.
Johnny Carson.
I don't think anybody's ever had the worldwide pool like this podcast has. So I'm with you. It's like, and he sits and he talks. So you could go, there's over 1,000 episodes that I think you could go and find. I mean, people were finding him saying the N-word.
Yeah.
For like 5-6 years ago and stuff like that, which you can condemn. You can be like, that's not good, right? But for him to come out and apologise, you're like, well, clearly he must have some sort of like fucking morality. And when you listen to what he says, you're like, he's spot on what he said. Like, you think that he's waking up to the fact that if he wants to keep going with this project, he's going to need to develop some sort of accountability and awareness that if he has somebody that's coming on and saying that COVID's a lot of shite, that he should follow that up very quickly, or at the same time have somebody to counter that argument. But it doesn't look good, mate. It's the optics, isn't it? Like him and Jordan Peterson sitting down and talking about the credibility of racism, and two not even middle-aged, two like old white men. Yeah. It doesn't look good, mate. And personally, I would like to see him avoid it, because they've got no point of fucking reference. They're talking about statistics. It's like, that doesn't matter. Like, unfortunately, people feel this really every day, and you want to just sit there for 3 hours and talk about how, well, if you look at the statistics, it tells a different story. Like, really? Yeah. Really, guys?
Like what the fuck do you know?
Exactly.
Jordan Peterson, especially Jordan Peterson, because he's in a better position in life than Joe Rogan. Like, Joe Rogan was a stand-up comedian. Jordan Peterson's like a lecturer, an educated background. What the fuck does he know? Like, was he not saying a couple of weeks ago that he wasn't white? He was actually froggish green. I think he tweeted that.
This is the
they
thing,
were talking about race and like black people are no actually black and white people are no white, and you're just like, shut the fuck up.
This is the thing, mate. I mean, Sam Harris is another one that I've got a lot of respect for. I listen to Sam Harris's podcast. He gets some incredible guests. They talk about stuff that you probably won't hear in other podcasts, like hyper intelligent, like Dr. Jordan Peterson. He's a doctor, you know, like hyper intelligence. But these guys, they I think that you can't get away from the fact that it feels very deliberate. They're smart enough to know what they're doing, and what they're doing is not funny, and it's not, you know, that way you're not, it's not funny or clever what you're doing, trying to use percentages or numbers to try and justify something that you already believe in your head. Jordan Peterson spent 2 years eating salt and steak, thinking it was curing his mental health and his motor neuron disease that he's not got, and it ended up driving him to a fucking hospital and back to like extreme antidepressants. Do not listen to that guy. Like, this is the problem, is that
salt, beef and water,
that's all he consumed for like 18 months and ended up in the hospital. Don't listen to him. Like, if there's ever a piece of information for you not to listen to what that guy says, it's that. Like, these people are my dad used to say, there's guys out there that think because they've got letters after their name or whatever, and he's like, but my dad used to say, they don't know what it's like on the street. And that is what happened with Peterson and Rogan. Rogan got $100 million for his podcast. This guy doesn't know what it's like on the street, man. As much as I used to find that a bit cringe when my dad used to say that. Like, they're all book smarts. It was all books and no buzz. They don't know what's good. That's what my dad used to say. This is what that is, isn't it? Yeah, I think anyway.
And that, I feel like we need to say that doesn't mean what Joe Rogan said was awful. Like, I've watched the clips recently. I can't even remember him saying that. I can't even remember watching him saying the N-word stuff. It's disgraceful, it's disturbing, and it's awful. And he also was talking about Planet of the Apes when he went to the cinema. It's awful. He talks about it in his apology video. So it is it's rough as fuck watching it. But What I'm trying to say is like, I'm no black, so I don't know what racism's like. So it must be like a getting stabbed or something. It must be horrible. Like I know a guy. It made me think about my pal. Right. I don't want to name him because he might be embarrassed, but he was born here and he's Scottish. 100% he's Scottish, but his mum and dad were from Pakistan. But I don't even think he's been to Pakistan, and he's fucking more Glaswegian than me.
Right.
And he says sometimes when he's walking down the street, people will shout at him from cars, like, go back to your own country and stuff.
Right.
How
do you deal with
how
that, man?
weird must that feel, though? But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you've been here since birth and you're Scottish and you went to primary school and somebody's saying, go back to your own country, I don't even think he can speak any languages. He's Scottish.
It must make you feel really isolated because it must drive a wedge between you and feeling Scottish. And then also, while they're telling you to go back, they speak a completely different language. You've never been there. So it must make you feel really isolated and alone, mate. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this on a podcast before, and, you know, I reluctantly say it, but I've got a small point of reference. When I went to uni, I was a 17-year-old Glasgow Ned that went to Glasgow University, and I felt like everybody was looking at me. They probably weren't, but I felt like everybody was looking and judging me because I didn't feel like I fit in. And I think that is probably a fraction of what people feel when they experience racism and bigotry. And I suppose, like, you know, I had the you know, Fenian Bee through me, and I never really enjoyed that much. It makes me kind of feel not good about myself, and I had that when I was younger. But I try and have empathy and compassion for everybody. And when I think about racism, I really do think about how times in my life where I felt isolated or different for everybody that's round about me. And the only one time that I've really felt like that was when I went to Glasgow and I turned up in a tracksuit with a backpack, and everybody was just like, look at the fucking state. Well, in my head, it was look at the fucking state of him.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm white, so I went into town with my sass and I bought a pair of jeans and I bought a hoodie and I turned up the next day and I felt part. You know, it was that simple for me to change. People can't change the colour of their skin, mate. It must be horrifying when you experience that. I can't even imagine, you know, other than trying to sort of, you know, think about it from my own perspective and going, I feel like that might be a wee fraction because I could fix that by going and just changing what I wore to fit in.
What happened? I mean, everybody must be talking about this, right? But it's made me think about other things. Like, have you seen the Jimmy Carr situation?
No, mate, I've not. So enlighten me, please.
So basically, Jimmy Carr had a stand-up special. I've not watched it, and it was out on Netflix at Christmas. I can't even remember what it's called, right? But they've cut. No matter how you look at it, it's awful, right? People keep saying that there's another part of the joke that he explains it, and I should have probably watched it, but I don't know how you can justify this. He was talking about the Holocaust, and he says, you know, 6 million people died, and a lot of those people that died were the Roman and Gypsy community. And it was something along the lines of, you need to look at the positives of that.
Right.
So it's pretty fucking awful, and it's disturbing. And I'm the darkest comedian out, and even that, I was like, that is crazy.
Are you quite defacing, if you know what I mean, with your comedy? Like
I'm the joke. Yeah,
Right.
I make myself the joke at all times. And I it's not like to be some warrior. Like, I just make myself the joke. If I do fat jokes, it's about myself. I don't slag fat people. You know, if I say something about mental illness, which can be a no-go, it's myself.
Right.
Addiction, it's myself. I'm always punching up. Is it punching down or up?
No, you'd be punching up.
I'm punching up. So it was disturbing, and people are going mental online about it. And see, the thing is, about what is it? Is it Roman community?
Aye, Romany.
Romany,
Romany and Traveller.
Traveller.
And previously would be called Gypsy. I think that's a slur now, but I'm only saying
Gypsy's a
that
slur.
as a way. I'm not 100% sure on that,
Yep.
mate, but I know it's the Traveller community, isn't
Right.
it? Like,
So I'll be 100% honest with you, right? I never knew anything about the Traveller community before Tyson Fury. Like,
right.
I never literally fucking
Never see-
clueless.
Well, there used to be the TV show My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding, so maybe it's not a slur if they're using it.
Well,
Did you ever see that programme? That was
never.
about the Traveller community, and they've got some stuff that within the community that, you know, the grabbing thing where the guy will just grab a lassie and then that's basically like they're getting married or whatever. Like,
oh really?
they will only really marry within their community. I think these are sort of traditions that exist within, you know, Catholics, Protestants as well.
Yeah.
You know, we've kind of, we're watching that breakdown in front of our eyes and the thing,
Yeah.
mate. But that's the thing, mate. I think that's the difference, right? Jimmy Carr is making a joke at a marginalised community of people. That's punching down. That's pissing on them. Like, fuck you. Like, make fun of yourself. You want to be dark. You want to push the boundaries. Make it at us. Like, mate, if you're got straight white men wanting to make jokes about black, trans, gay, bi, like, fuck off. There's plenty of jokes that we can make about ourselves. We're probably the biggest scumbags on the fucking planet, right?
Yeah.
But we want to push the boundaries by making jokes at smaller groups of people. This is where people get a really bad, and personally me as well, when comics come out and go, I think that we need to be able to make jokes at everything. And it's like, I think that in essence that is true, but I also disagree with your choice to make jokes at, you know, transgender people, for instance, are probably the most marginalised people within our society. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, but you're choosing to do it. I'm not saying that I think it should be on the table. Nothing's off the table. But the people that choose it, like especially white guys that choose to make jokes about the Traveller community, it's like you're punching so far down.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking get a break. Like, there's no need for it. I don't think anyway.
I completely agree with you. And what I would say is reading Tyson Fury's book it opened my eyes to that community, made me respect them, and I thought, aye, good people. And it was Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's a good guy, man. I messaged him once on Twitter and he got back to me.
Did they?
Aye.
We're getting them on.
I mean, it was just like pleasantries, but I was like, well, he's a good guy, man.
Aye, mate. Seems like a nice cunt.
So, aye. It's the same with racists as well. Racists are strange. It's like when the word Pakistani. Like, I've heard a couple of racists saying the racist term for Pakistani is no racist. It's just shortened for that word. And I'm like, it's no shortened. See, when you say that word, you can see somebody's soul leave their fucking body. You know that it's hurtful.
Aye.
Like, shut up.
Exactly what you just said there, mate. It's the context of the word. It doesn't matter if it's a shortened word for the word Pakistani. It's the context, and it's about where did it come from? Why did it come? Why was it used? It was a derogatory term. Like, aye, but how come they get to use it? Because what? Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me on? Like, see, if I'm Scottish, I can say jock, right?
Yeah.
And I can say, like, but see, when I'm in England, if somebody's like, oh, jock, I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Do
thank you,
do
mate.
you think that's offensive?
100%.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I mean, Scotch is like,
fuck
that
off.
boils my piss, right? But that's just a personal thing. I don't think that's offensive. But, you know, if somebody calls me jock, I'm like, excuse me? You know what I mean?
Sweaty sock.
I've never heard that.
I get called that once in England. A sweaty sock.
Well, that's even fucking worse, mate. That's even worse. I mean, aye, fuck them, man. It's just, why do you want to pick on these people? Why
Yeah.
do you want to say that word? We're getting into pure semantics. Well, but it's just a shortened version of a word. Words, sticks and stones. Well, fucking won't call me jock, you cunt. We'll fucking see what happens. Aye, it will be sticks and stones. You fucking.
Do you know what their problem is?
I'm getting angry today, mate.
I'll tell you what their problem is, mate. They've not had a McTassels. They need a gyros in their
Aye,
life.
mate.
That would cure racism.
Or they need to suck on Ange Postecoglou's cock to get the magic.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, man. See, a couple of years ago, I watched Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, right?
Right.
When I was doing Panto in Dundee, and I had nothing to watch. And see, watching that, See, when you're a working class white straight male, there's a lot of things in your life. I went to a Catholic school. You're no before I did stand up comedy, I wasn't surrounded with anybody that was different from me. It was all the same.
Aye.
So you might have, you know, the fear of something different when you're young, and you're like, oh, because when you went to a Christian school, you kind of get taught that if a guy goes with a guy, that's wrong. It's never verbally said in a classroom, but it's kind of in the hush. You go to a church on a Sunday. I've heard a priest say that in a church before, and you're like, what? You're like, I've got a gay auntie and she's fucking happy and she loves her life.
Aye.
But this old 97-year-old priest is telling me that that's no natural.
Aye.
But because you're a Wayne, you don't really know any different. And then you become an adult and you're like, wait a minute, yous are the biggest fucking pedo ring in the world. Anyway, we're moving on. What was I saying there? I totally lost my fucking...
You were saying that it's about being different. You're 100% right, mate.
Aye.
I can remember the first time, and I'm genuinely not being racist here. I can remember the first time I seen a black guy in Carntyne, and I was genuinely shocked. Like, what? And they weren't there. And I'm not being racist, mate, but they weren't in a shop. They were literally moved into a house in Carntyne. I can remember that. That was an event in my life where it was like a black family or a family of colour moved into Carntyne, and it was like pure. And you're right. It's because you're not surrounded by it, right? And so, aye, it's different.
That's what I meant. Aye.
It's different, but at the same time, you don't need to treat people that are different for you differently. You know what I mean? You can treat... See, as long as you treat every person that you come across with respect, that's it. That's it. Until they disrespect you, until you find out, oh, wait a minute, I need to watch what I do here. Just treat everybody with respect, no matter what sex, gender, colour, football team, religion. See, no matter what, this is what I would say. If I meet somebody new, do I want to be treated with respect? Do you?
Yeah.
So do I. So therefore, when I meet somebody new, I must treat them with respect, because it's the law of the universe, mate. You will get out what you put into it. And if you meet people with skepticism, aggression, worse, like abuse, you'll get it back. And all of these people, Nick, if you look at all the big ones, Tommy Robinson, Nick Griffin, they are all ugly fucking bastards on the outside, and it's because the hatred that's inside you seeps out your fucking pores, and nobody will want to be about you, and they all end up isolated. But unfortunately now we've got the fucking internet where they all just come together and be hateful bastards together. So they're empowered and emboldened and think that they can take their fucking nonsense out into the world. But we just need to fight it, mate. But just treat everybody with fucking respect. That's all that it takes, man.
I agree with you. Thank you for saying that.
Get off my soapbox.
You're way more educated than me. I'll tell you a quick story, right? We've got comedy stuff here. It doesn't need to be comedy. It's my podcast. We can talk about whatever you want. I want to go back to talking about G-Ross and sucking Angie's banger. But I'll tell you a nice story, right? It made me, when I was becoming an adult and leaving Glasgow, I get put into the final of a stand-up comedy competition called the Leicester Mercury Comedian of the Year, and it was in Leicester. And I get put in there by a promoter that you can only get put to the final if you're getting nominated. So I get nominated, and in the final there was like Welsh comedians and English, and it was one of my first gigs in England, right? And I was very, very nervous.
So did you have to do a gig in Leicester to get nominated?
No. You just get nominated in general.
Right, okay.
Then that's you in the final.
Right, okay.
So I went down from Glasgow to Leicester, and I was really, really nervous, and I died of Mars. And when I was dying of Mars on the stage, I was like really Glaswegian and fucking all that, so nobody really understood me. And I was skint as well, right? I worked in Asda. It was £113 for the train fare or something. I only had £130 on me. They gave us some food vouchers for Nando's. So I was depressed. I was like really depressed. I went because I'd done really well in Glasgow in Scotland, and I was like, oh, if I go down there, I might do well. And I was so shite, right? So on the train journey back, I was like, the guy sitting beside me just must have fucking knew that I was sad. His name was Michael, right?
Right.
He was English, he was black, and we started having a conversation with each other. And to this day, I still think I'm so grateful that that happened. The gig was shite, everything was shite apart for this train journey. The guy started talking to me, right? I swear in my mother's life that this is a true story. But just saying, like, you come from Glasgow and stuff. And he asked me a question, right? He's like, do you get black people in Scotland? And I was like, I was like 24 at the time. So I was like, no, I don't, no. He's like, you get like people from Iraq and stuff and refugees.
Immigrants.
Aye, immigrants.
Right,
But he's like, I don't think I've seen like a black British person. Like, do you know what I mean? Like a black English person. And he's like, I never knew that. He's like, because when I went up to Scotland, I don't see any black people, but down here, there's like, everybody's different.
Aye.
And it pure blew my mind. So I never realised, right? See, at one point, we were eating and drinking and stuff, and I looked down and I was like, no fucking way, man. He had a prosthetic arm.
Right.
But I didn't want a pure stare. So I was like, is that fucking arm real or fake?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Navy. I was in the Navy. I lost my arm in the Navy. And he told me his story. He's like, I want to be, I don't want to pure ruin this story, but he's like, I'm not in the army anymore, but my dream is to be the first black amputee to sail around the world.
Right.
Because it's never been done before.
Ah, right.
And that's my dream. And I was like, fuck, I felt bad for being a shite. Like, I felt like important being a comedian, but then I'm sitting beside this guy.
Aye.
And then see at the end of it, the two of you stood up and we cuddled each other and stuff. We were nearly greeting. And then the guy in front of you stood up and he's like, look, I don't mean to like eavesdrop, but that was incredible to hear your story. And I just wish the two of yous all the best.
Wow.
So Michael got in touch with us like a year ago.
Oh, really?
And the two of yous are pals on Facebook.
Oh, brilliant.
And I asked him, Michael, did you ever do your dream of sailing around the world? And guess what he said?
What?
He's like, no, I've got a job in Asda. Is that true? True story. True story.
Mad Michael, wouldn't get my phone in.
So, it was a true story. He's a driver in Asda, but he's like, I've just not had the time to do it. I was like, all the best.
Got to pay the bills, Michael, mate.
But I know that was a bit of a joke at the end there. That was 100% a true story.
Aye, mate.
So, Mad Michael. What else have we got?
Mad Mick.
We need to lighten that up a wee bit. I asked a couple of people. I was like, I'm doing the podcast today. Does anybody get any questions? And somebody said, can you tell the world what it was like being gay and growing up in the scheme? I was like,
how would I know?
I'm not gay, mate. So,
how was it?
it was all right.
I mean, my big cousin was gay and grew up in Cranhill, mate, and he didn't have it easy, got to say. My dad had to teach him how to fucking knock cunts out.
That must be tough, man.
Aye, mate. Fucking total shite, mate.
I'd suck a banger for a gyros. 100%. There's another guy I know. There's this guy online. He doesn't come from the UK, right? I don't know how I know him, but I think he might have followed me for Vine, right? And the guy is gay, 100% gay.
Right.
And he's obsessed with me for some fucking reason. I don't know why he's obsessed, right? And recently, I had to block him and stuff, and then I unblocked him because he sent me a tweet. And he's like asking me for a dick pic, just non-stop.
Right.
So then I was like, fuck it. I was like, if you want that, you need to pay me. And he was like, I'm skint. I was like, well, fuck off then. I'm not going to just give you a fucking dick pic for nothing, am I?
Platinum nudes. Somebody on Twitter tagged me in a post saying what happened to the arse-burning chilies that I'd ordered to eat on the podcast for Brian McGinley.
The bottle of sauce.
It's in the house. So I brung it, but that was a week Kieran was here and we forgot all about it. I had a cap full of it in my ramen and it fucking nearly took my heat off. But it's in the house, so we'll need to bring it round.
Did it blow your ass?
No, mate, it was surprisingly... surprisingly just like the mouth. I don't remember it being really bad the next day after that, but it's hot sauce, mate. It's like, you know, I think it's 80% Carolina Reaper.
Oh my God, I'm hungry. Are you fasting today?
Aye, mate, every day.
When are you breaking your fast?
6 o'clock,
What time's it now?
4 o'clock.
Oh man, I'm horny. I am horny.
Call me for some hot sauce.
What else have I got? No, man. Just the absolute mental side of Twitter is like, I found it quite funny how anti-vaxxers are rubbishing doctors and GPs and stuff, and they're saying this is all shit and they're all bullshit, but then they're going and getting their information for Right Said Fred.
Aye.
Like, all right.
Aye, I don't believe these people that have studied their full life at this. They've been indoctrined into this system. I believe my ma.
Aye.
my auntie knows. She's been surrounding herself with crystals for years, Darren. She knows the score.
Man, he shared a video on Facebook. You're like, all right, okay.
Aye, it's ridiculous, but like the fucking just the pure discourse that's happening, like people that are like sharing memes as if they're like, this is the word of the Lord. Do you know what I mean? Like, that must be true. It's a meme.
I've noticed a really a cruel thing that, I mean, obviously anti-vaxxers have always been cruel, but I think they've changed the game and it's went into very dangerous. They've always been dangerous, but this has went to like people need to start getting arrested now because they've started to say that the vaccine is causing AIDS. And I'm like, get to fuck.
Aye, what?
Speeding up the process of AIDS, and there's like this super fucking AIDS virus that's coming out now, and it's happening through the vaccine. And I've started seeing that off our souls on Facebook saying that the vaccine's causing AIDS now.
How do we arrest people? But on this is where it starts to get weird, where you're kind of like, aye, you're right, they do kind of need to be stopped. But how do we stop people for just saying shit?
Aye, talking shit.
You know what I mean? Aye, you're basically going to end up with a wee jail somewhere that's just shit talkers anonymous.
Aye.
Like perpetual liars and bullshitters. But, aye, mate, people are coming away with all sorts of shit. Seen somebody sharing somebody saying that all these football players dropping down with heart conditions is because of the vaccine.
I've
And
seen that.
there's like so much data that goes back to like 2016. I mean, this has been a thing in football for a long time, and now people are just using it for their own agenda because they're so afraid of the vaccination. Ooh, you know what I mean? Like, fuck off, man. Like, get a grip of yourself.
That's the kind of frustrating thing about Joe Rogan as well, because there's clips of him flat out saying take a vaccine,
And then he goes anti-vax.
yeah. So
What one do you believe?
aye,
You know what I
but
mean?
it's so, the thing is so frustrating because he's so pro-vaccine and then he's complete opposite.
Do you know why? Because he's a fucking shitebag that doesn't want to get the vaccination.
Yeah.
See, unless you're a historical anti-vaxxer, like this will be people that have been always anti-vax and anti-big pharma and anti-medicine, and you know, like that end up trying to drink fucking vegetable juice to kill cancer. Like, that exists, right? And small amount of people. But see, the new anti-vaxxers, they're scared.
Yeah.
They're afraid of the vaccine. I get it, you know. I'm sorry I just called you a shitebag. It was for comedic effect, but it wasn't that funny. But they're just afraid, right? Joe Rogan puts testosterone, like injects testosterone into his body, smokes weed that's grown, you know, by a hippie in the hills in Colorado, will take lion's mane and all these fucking supplements. But when it comes to this thing, for some reason, it's triggered this fear response in people.
Yeah.
And now they're so scared, they're desperate to just get the information that proves that they are right, so that they don't seem like a coward even to themselves.
I think I've said this before. See, when I went to Peru, I needed a couple of vaccines, and I don't even know what I got. They just said you need this, this, and this to get into this country. I booked an appointment with my GP. I went down and I get fucking 2 injections into my arm, and they were like,
like malaria, and it'll be some sort of disease.
Maybe yellow fever rings a bell. But I was like, aye. Wasn't sick, didn't feel rough. Even when I got the vaccine, I was like fucked for a day, man. But Who cares? I was fucked for a day when I got the flu jag.
You're fucked for a day when you go for a night out. They nights out, man. They're the ones.
You're no fucked for a day when you eat a gyros.
Or get a blood. Or suck Ange Postecoglou.
See, the thing is, like, it's a wee Greek family that run this van. They'll be like, oh, Bobby from Scott Squad will watch his podcast. What was he saying about sucking Ange Postecoglou's cock? What's that got to do with the lamb gyros? You get a fucking gyros, you get a gobble of Bobby, man. I do homers, man. I'll suck your cock. No wonder every cunt thinks I'm gay. That's all I talk about. Sucking cock for food. I'm not even gay. It's like that's a real eating disorder. Suck cock for gyros, man.
Will suck Bobby for McDonald's. No,
Aye.
McTassos.
Oh man. Right, so how long have we done?
40 minutes, mate.
40 minutes.
Maybe another 10, 15 or whatever.
10 or 15. What I kind of, I'm looking at the news this week, and I mean, some of it's really sad, mate. I don't know what to say. Like, have you watched anything good recently? I've finished Reacher on Amazon Prime.
No.
Reacher, the Jack Reacher stuff.
I don't even know who Jack Reacher is.
Oh, mate, it's a bunch of books, right?
Right.
It's like the American James Bond, and the guy's
Right.
10 foot, built like a brick shit house. And see, when they made the films, Tom Cruise get cast. So all the hardcore Jack Reacher fans were like,
Aye.
it's nothing like him.
Talking about closet homosexuals.
I don't want Scientologists to turn up at my door. Because I'll suck their bangers off an hour. Honestly, man, I'll suck
So
it.
the Jack Reacher, right? So he's like American James Bond, and he's supposed to be 10 foot tall, and they cast a hobbit,
Yeah.
somebody that's what I mean.
And all
what
the
height-
hardcore fans were like devastated. Even
Right.
though the Tom Cruise films are good. I don't
Right,
know
are
if you've
they?
seen them.
No, mate, I
They're
I
good.
didn't even know that they were a thing. I don't even know. I've never even heard of Jack Reacher.
Oh, mate, it's really good. It's like 3
Right.
films. Obviously, Tom Cruise is the main guy, but the fans were a bit gutted, even though they were very successful. And then there's a spin off that's happened. It's an actual TV series
Mhm.
on Prime, and it's just called Reacher. Now, I don't know who the guy is that plays him, but
Right.
he is genuinely fucking 7 foot, built like a brick shit house.
Good. Right, they got what the Rock
Aye,
to fucking play him.
and it is a very, very good TV show. I've got nothing funny to say about it.
It was just good.
Just a good show that I'd recommend.
I don't really get much time to watch telly. I play a lot of computer games like in my downtime,
Mhm.
but like Cam and stuff like Dead by Daylight. You're into horror. Like horror video games are amazing, mate. It's basically like hide and seek.
Oh, aye.
So you're like, there's like 5 people and a killer, and the killer's either like Leatherface, Michael Myers, Pinhead, fucking Freddy Krueger.
That
There's
sounds
a
good.
witch. There's and you go, if you're the killer, you go and hunt people. But if you're a survivor, you need to go and you repair generators.
Ah,
And then after you've done 5 of them, the door opens and you can escape. It's called Dead by Daylight. It's pure relaxing, mate. Because you just creep about and
yeah.
I
Do
play it like
you? Is that the PS5?
that. PS4? Or I've got an Xbox Series One, a Series S, whatever the newest Xbox is. I've got.
So instead of watching things like Reacher, you do that.
Me and my missus play computer games,
Fair
FIFA,
enough.
Warzone, and Dead by Daylight.
Have you not watched the new Cobra Kai?
No, mate. I finished. I watched season 1 and season 2.
The season 3's just out.
Right, I'm going to watch it then.
It's very good. I mean, it's like quite non-PC and stuff.
Is it?
Well, it's like they poke fun at the kind of woke movement.
Right.
Well, it's like no Daniel son, but the other guy. He's like a beer drinker. He calls people fat. All that type of
Right.
shit.
So, who is the bad? He's like the bad guy in the first 2, and aliens like.
Le Russo.
Aye, that's right. Aye.
Aye.
Is it? But were you a fan of the Karate Kid movies when you were a wee guy?
No pure into it, but see when I watched them recently, I did enjoy them.
Aye, mate. I was banging it. See, Karate Kid and Rocky. That was like my
Aye.
jam. I'd watch the Karate Kid movies and then I'd tie like the fucking belt off my house coat around my head. They fly kicks off the bed. Try and do the crane kick to my sister and fall on my arse. Smash my head.
A day. Has Mr. Miyagi ever been in the guy that plays Mr. Miyagi?
Mhm.
Has he ever been in any films apart from The Karate Kid?
I think so, mate. I'm sure he was in a Police Academy movie. I could be wrong.
Aye.
Let's consult the oracle that is IMDb. Miyagi-san. Miyagi. I don't even know how to spell Miyagi. I'm just going to put in Karate Kid.
Have you seen the new one when Jackie Chan's Mr. Miyagi?
Fucking don't even want to talk about it, mate.
Have you seen it?
Aye, mate. What a load of shit.
Yeah. I thought Jackie Chan was good, but the rest of it was shit.
I mean,
Jackie Chan's a fucking man. I
aye,
think
mate.
we've brought this up. See the one he fights the IRA?
No.
Have you not seen that?
No.
So basically, Jackie Chan's daughter gets killed by an IRA bomb, and he goes on a mad revenge mission. It's only like
Right.
3 or 4 year old. It's fucking brilliant.
Oh, mate. So the guy's called Pat Morita, let's just say. He's in a movie called The Karate Dog that's got 2.8 stars. So that might be a contender for like one of the best worst movies that we've ever seen. But he's been in tons, mate. Tons and tons and tons. He must have just been the pure... He was in Baywatch,
Wow.
the TV series. He must have been the pure token Asian dude.
Yeah,
You know,
he's been
and-
typecast.
Aye, for fuck's sake.
He was also in an Alien Ant Farm music video.
movies.
Yes.
That's right, mate.
I've seen them live at the bars. They were
Mate,
fucking
I
brilliant.
seen them live at the Barras, but they was supported Papa Roach.
Mate,
Were you there?
that was the same fucking gig.
Aye, mate. Amazing. And then I seen them at Gig in the Green. That was
Aye.
3 months later. How amazing was that gig, mate?
That was amazing.
I'd never heard Alien Art Farm before that, and they came out, and it was like a couple of hundred people. Barras, it was like quarter full. They played fucking Smooth Criminal first song. The place went fucking tonto.
Yeah.
I remember.
Do you
just,
remember what he said?
does anybody like Michael Jackson? And the
Yep.
place went woo, and then they just went
Aye.
aye. Place went fuck. I literally threw a pint away and just went straight into the mosh pit when
Aye.
that started, mate. Can't believe we were at the same gig, man.
That was mental.
Wait, you must have been pretty young.
I think I might have been about 15 or 16. mate.
Right. Aye, so what age would I have been? What age are you now?
I'm 34.
So I'm 30, I'm 39, so I would have been about 18 or 19 year
Yeah.
old. Papa Roach were fucking, I loved Papa Roach, mate.
Aye, Papa Roach, I loved them. I've seen them live. See, my gig collection, mate, I had some ticket collection for gigs before I started doing stand-up. I've seen, like, Papa Roach, 50 Cent, Bob Dylan, I've seen James, mate, about 15
Aye.
times. I had a really good...
I've got a couple of fucking, what would you call it? I don't know, a couple of hits on the old gig list.
Tell us... Right, okay, tell us random ones as well.
Oh,
Weird ones.
seen Marlon Manson,
Oh, aye.
seen Rob Zombie at the garage
Oh, aye.
when I was about 13 or 14-year-old.
I like him.
The barrier collapsed and they got everybody round the side of the, took a couple of hundred people round the side of the stage at the garage. Seen the Bloodhound Gang at the garage, remember them?
Fuck.
The Bad Touch.
No way.
They were brilliant, mate. The guy that played bass, and his name's Jared something, he was wearing a kilt. And, you know, like back in the day, health and safety wasn't it? You know, they could do what they want. You were allowed to go up at the side of the stage and jump off the stage and like crowd surf and stuff like that. But he put his leg on the barrier and he had a fucking absolute hammer just swinging between his legs, man. He was nothing on underneath
Wait,
his
he was
fucking
wearing a
kilt.
coat?
He was wearing a kilt and he put his leg on the barrier and the crowd were there and his fucking dick was just flopping about.
And
But
was it getting cheers?
there was a few women there that had stars in their eyes, let's just
Yeah.
say.
Were
But
they reaching for it?
no, nobody reached to grab his bobby. Just reaching out pure. Geez that.
Because I would have.
But impressive ones. Seen the Foo Fighters at the Barrowlands. Seen Metallica at the Barrowlands. Seen Rage
Wow.
Against the Machine at the Barrowlands. Slayer at the Barrowlands. The Barrowlands was like my favourite. That's my favourite gig venue. So
Aye.
when I've seen people in there, I talk about it.
Brilliant.
What
I've
about you?
seen Deadmau5 at the bars.
Amazing.
I've seen the Libertines at the bars.
I was at a Limit. Who was a support band?
Was it the one he didn't turn up?
No, I seen them when he was there.
Oh, right, okay. So I think this support band was Franz Ferdinand, mate. I'm sure
That was up the bracket. Aye, that was when he was in jail.
Yeah.
So it was just Carol Bratt that did the singing that night.
Aye,
I wasn't at that, mate. I seen him in King Tut's before that
amazing.
with a band called Kane.
Kane, aye, that rings a bell.
and I seen Maroon because of Kane. they said on stage, they came off stage and he was like, we're supporting Maroon 5 at the garage. And I was like, I don't know who Maroon 5 are, but I went to see Kane and I seen Maroon 5
And
at the garage. They were fucking shite, mate.
Aye.
The guy came out with a fucking cowboy hat on and I was like,
oh
fuck off.
no.
But
Aye.
what were you saying now? Libertines at the Barras, right? What else? What other big names have you seen?
So me and my mate had this running joke that we hated Morrissey. He's
Right.
like, he's a cunt, man. He's shite. And he's like, do you want to go and see him in Dundee? And it was this wee Dundee Town Centre, maybe 300 people or something.
Right.
I think it was a Monday night. Me and my mate get the train up and we went to see him, and it was fucking amazing, man.
Aye, mate.
One of the best gigs I've ever been to in my life.
I'm not a fan of Morrissey the person, but the Smiths
Yes.
were fucking amazing, and he had a solo album that had a song on it, Irish Blood, English Heart.
Yep.
And mate, that album's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Morrissey's music, but I wouldn't get caught if he did at a gig nowadays.
I would say in the last 10 years, something's happened to him. He's went weird, but like back in the day, the Smiths and all that was good. But who else have I seen? The Beastie Boys. I seen them at the
Exhibition Centre.
Yep.
Live at the Round.
Yes.
Right in the middle was there.
Oh no way!
Aye, mate.
I think we've probably been to a lot of the same gigs.
I
mate.
used to be a gig rat. I was like one of the wee dudes with the fucking dickies and the baggy jeans and
Aye.
Mate, I used to go to a gig every week, like try to go to just any gig, mate. I used to just go to Ticket Scotland and just look at the
Aye,
list, and
that
it was
was,
like £8, £9 a gig. Do you know what I mean?
See the guy that was in the Libertines, Carol. What was his other band called?
Dirty Pretty Things.
Tell you a funny story about them.
Right, go
I was
for
at
it.
tea in the park with my mate, and we were waiting to get autographed, and there was all these birds waiting at the fence and screaming at them, and I shouted out my tits on speed that I wanted him to be inside me. So and then I went and got my autograph, and the drummer signed. I took my top off and he signed my belly. So there you go. Embarrassing. I just want to say thank you to McTassels.
I hope they don't listen to this, mate. But see, to be fair, they've had more mentions in this podcast than any other sponsor that we've ever had. Just so happens to involve oral sex with the new Celtic manager.
Ange Postecoglou, God bless. Come up here, I'll get you a fucking gyros anytime.
Get that yogurt drink.
So thank you very much to McTassels, Kelvin Way, Buchanan Galleries, The Fort. Go and check them out, and we will be back next week for a new podcast. Do you want to say anything, Paul?
No, man, give me something Big Angie's cock dab.
Oh no, cut that out.
Do it again.
No, it is. We're all just crabs in a bucket trying to survive.
Oh, mate.